Wonder. A person or thing regarded as very good, remarkable, or effective. Now that's a description you wouldn't normally associate with Newcastle United, but from time to time, St James's Park has been graced by wondrous performances that live long in the memory. But as we all know, those feelings don't often last too long. This is Newcastle United we're talking about after all. Some may never replicate the lofty heights they set themselves, others simply move on too soon. And with that in mind, I'm Aaron from Gallagher Shots, and this is the top 5 one-season wonders at Newcastle United. Number 5. Dietmar Hamann. A 6'3" German behemoth. Signed by Kenny Dalglish in 1998 from Bayern Munich for a rather hefty fee of just over $6 million, Hamann was a powerhouse in the middle of the park. Composed, dominant in possession, and he could thread a pass from the other side of the earth and make it land directly on your big toe. Despite being injured early on in his time in black and white, Hamann went on to score 5 goals in 31 league games, becoming a fan favourite in the process. However, issues with his new boss Ruud Gullit, insert shock gif here, who replaced Dalglish just 2 games into the 98-99 season, began to take their toll. Couple that with the allure of playing for an improving Liverpool side under Gerard Houllier, and he was soon on his way, leaving a big German hole in our hearts and our midfield. Number 4. Georginio Wijnaldum. Wonder probably isn't the correct word to describe Gini's brief spell on Tyneside. He was an absolute revelation. Signed from PSV for around $15 million in 2015, Wijnaldum practically walked into the starting 11 and immediately made an impact. He scored a sublime header on his debut against Southampton, which was just the tip of the iceberg of what he had to offer. He enjoyed standout performances against Norwich, where he bagged 4 goals, becoming only the second Newcastle player to do so in a league game, and Liverpool, where he put in a man-of-the-match performance to help secure a 2-0 win. Gini went on to score 11 goals in 38 league appearances, making him the team's top scorer for the season. But, much like Hamann, the allure of playing for Liverpool, coupled with Newcastle's second relegation in 7 years, was enough for him to depart the club in the summer of 2016. Number 3. Loïc Rémy. Rémy was never truly ours, which makes his entry on this list all the more painful. Brought in on a season-long loan from QPR in 2013, Rémy quickly made it abundantly clear that he was a striker Newcastle United had been crying out for. After missing the first 2 games of the season with an injury, the Frenchman went on to net 5 goals in 3 games. And despite a couple of dry spells, he ended the season with 14 goals in 26 games, making him the club's top scorer by a significant margin. Granted, that's not too difficult when you are in good Francie competition, but it's impressive all the same. His performances through the season were so vital that he was even voted the Player of the Year by the Newcastle United Supporters Trust. Ultimately though, this was always going to be a holiday romance. Rémy's loan spell expired at the end of the season, and he was later snapped up by Chelsea, where he'd regularly warmed the bench. In the 5 years since he left Newcastle, Rémy's only scored 16 goals in 67 appearances. Did we get the very best out of him, or was this just a flash in the pan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Number 2. Papiss Cissé. Okay, now I know this video is called One Season Wonders, but bear with me. Cissé joined the club from Freiburg in the 2012 January transfer window, where he joined forces with fellow Senegalese striker Demba Ba. As is the case with any striker, Cissé was brought in to do one thing and one thing only: score goals. Add to that the pressure of wearing the coveted number 9 shirt, and it was clear he would have to start strong, and start strong he did. He kicked off his Newcastle United career in fine style with a thunderous volley to secure a 2-1 win against Aston Villa, which proved to be the beginning of a magical run of form, in which the striker scored 13 goals in 14 games. Along the way, he became the fastest player to reach 5 goals for Newcastle, he scored 3 braces in a row, and he remains the club's most prolific striker in terms of goals per game. He also scored one of the greatest Newcastle goals of all time with his physically impossible volley against Chelsea, which, unsurprisingly, won the BBC's goal of the season. But with the bar set so high, it's hardly a shock that Cissé just couldn't replicate his early Newcastle United form. Yes, he scored crucial and breathtaking goals from time to time in his 5 years at the club, and yes, he did lead the line for us in the UEFA Cup. But the Cissé of early 2012 would never truly return to the pitch. The following year he only scored 8 in 36, which was followed by an incredibly lacklustre 2 in 24 in the league. We'll always have that volley though. I'm gonna go watch it now. And number 1, Alan Pardew. Bit of a shock, right? Before you start printing off Pardew out posters, just hear us out a second. We know that the man is an absolute buffoon. He's Ashley's best mate, he's an awful human being, and ultimately he's a shit manager. Stats don't lie. But for a brief, beautiful moment in time, The team he presided over overcame all the odds to finish an unprecedented 5th in the league to secure European football. Can you imagine that now? 5th in the league. Let's be honest, if Rafa took us to 5th in the league, the collective orgasm around town would cause tectonic plates to split. The 2011-2012 season was the epitome of a one-season wonder. We've already mentioned the ridiculous things that Cissé did that year, but it was the collective team that shocked everyone. And unfortunately, we have to credit Pardew for some of that. New signings, tactics, morale, everything just seemed to work in our favour. Pardew's win percentage that year was 50%, which was one of the highest percentages for a top-flight Newcastle United manager since Kevin Keegan between 92 and 97. The team enjoyed its best start to a campaign in 17 years, with 11 games unbeaten in all competitions. Pardew also went on to win the Premier League Manager of the Season award, becoming the only Newcastle United manager to do so. And he won the LMA Manager of the Year award, which made him the only English manager to win both awards in the same season. But the magic soon faded, and we all came crashing back down to a harsh, painful reality. The following season, Newcastle finished 16th after losing 19 games with a goal difference of -23. Of course, on-field performances only played a tiny part in Pardew's fall from grace. We can't mention the silver-haired arsehole without bringing up the fact that in his later years as Newcastle manager, he verbally abused Manuel Pellegrini, and what self-respecting manager wouldn't plant a headbutt on a player? Thanks for the memories, Alan. I hope the door's treating you well. Do you agree with our list? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share. Until next time, see you later.